Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today we're going to talk about Married at First Sight Season 16 Nashville Episode 24 Reunion Part 1. I mean, they have made us wait so long for the reunion. We've seen Where Are They Now, previous cast tell-offs. We finally made it to Reunion Part 1, and it was listed, shout out to MAFS fan on her IG, or their IG, I don't know if they're male or female, but there's going to be additional weeks left of Married at First Sight Season 16 Nashville. I'm starting to wonder if the next season may or may not be ready to be out yet. I don't know what's going on, but this season has lasted long enough. So before I begin, please, if you haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing to our channel. Hit that like button, leave your comments so I know what it is that you thought about the reunion, part 1, and tell a friend to tell a friend. And also, I will be going live tomorrow, Thursday. Well, the two videos. This video will be out Thursday, and I'll be live Thursday evening. So hopefully you'll be able to catch one or them both. All right, so the reunion has finally arrived, and Kevin asked all the singles plus the one couple, is it weird to have people watching you and giving their opinions watching the show? So Nicole, of course, Nicole's the first to answer, right? Nicole is like the fifth, what is it, the third, what do they say, like the third wheel? Nicole's the third wheel. She's the third expert, or the fifth expert, the fifth wheel on the show. She chimes in and said, yes, of course. She said now she knows how it feels to have people in your business, because she's usually the one in other people's business. That's not hard to figure out from this whole entire season, Nicole. Kevin asked about, has anyone showed up in their DMs? Like, anything strange, anything interesting? Dominique said there's been more unhappy people versus happy people. She said she's also had people asking her about maybe sending some cleavage pictures for money in her DMs. So that's interesting. And then Kevin asked to Jasmine, well, he didn't ask to Jasmine. He said to Jasmine, people have been saying that maybe you should date someone from a previous season. And the person he said, I was like, I haven't heard that rumor. But the person he said, it was Gil. Now, didn't Dom say that she was trying to talk to Gil on the low, but Gil kind of like threw shade at her? Well, it seemed like, like not right now, Yeah, she said, Jasmine said she heard that too. And then Kevin said, so Dom, weren't you talking to Gil? And Dominique said, yes, we're pretty good friends now, and he's a solid guy. So was that Kevin being shady, or did the people really want to know? We also learned that in the same building, remember how it used to be Clint and Gina used to live in the same building and never really ran into each other or knew who they were before the show? Well, now Clint lives in the same building with Chris and Nicole. Okay, so you know what Nicole said? She said they all have a great time. Clint, it's Clint, what we've seen on the show, I guess that continued on. Nicole said it's like having a second husband. I'm like, a second husband? So Nicole also explained that Clint goes to the dog park, meets her when she's there. So I guess Clint is gonna like maybe be the dog uncle to Chris and Nicole's dogs, because they have 3. Since he's no longer with Hank. And then Chris also said, yeah, he also comes over and cooks dinner for everybody. So yeah, Clint has made himself a new home in the building with Chris and Nicole as well. And then we move on to McKinley. He says he's moved to Michigan, house of his own. The house has a basement. Well, we knew McKinley had a new house because they said that like 2 shows ago. Okay, when he came back to visit to say that he was messaging Gina on the down low in her DM. So that wasn't news, but maybe to some it was. Then the conversation came up about McKinley saying things about Dominique when he learned that she had a dog. And they show clips. So they show actually clips a little bit along the way during the show. But it was saying how McKinley was saying how, Dom is so immature. She's 25. She works a 9 to 5. Like, she's irresponsible having a dog. And so after the clip was over, McKinley said he said those things out of anger and he apologized to Dominique. And Dominique said, you know what, when you got your house, I congratulated you because they broke up so early, 11 days in, they weren't really on the same page. I still think there's a little bit of animosity, like from both of them, to be honest, in my opinion. All right, so then Kevin brought up the slender comment to Clint when he was talking about he was more into, in his previous dating before he came on the show, women who were more athletic and slender with, you know, Gina and Clint on the honeymoon. And that's how they stayed in the friend zone. Nicole chimes in after they showed the clip and says, you know, it was an awkward moment and she was ready to, you know, give Clint the business. Gina said that she felt Clint's comments was like he was being accusatory about her weight, saying like, you know, he doesn't know how much I work out and this and that. But Clint said it was taken out of context. He said what he was dating before, what his preference was. And I remember that was a debate when it first occurred all those weeks ago on the honeymoon with different people, whether it be in this chat or other people's chat or Facebook groups or whatever, saying how, you know, there's a preference of what people like, and maybe Gina took it the wrong way, or maybe Clint's message didn't get across in the way that he wanted to get across. Chris chimed in and he said, you know, he also made an unflattering comment. He said that he's normally with a woman who is a little less thick than Nicole, but you know, it's okay. He's gonna be with Nicole now because that's his wife, and you know, he'll just have to roll with it. Chris said, you know, in the past, that's what he dated as well. But he said he also feels like this show makes you maybe say things, or you feel pressure to say things because you're being honest in the moment. And so that's what it was. And he also apologized to Nicole. And what they say, unseen clips or that didn't make the TV of Eris, his cousin, calling out Jasmine. Eris's cousin came out just saying just whatever willy-nilly. But you know what? It all came down to Eris's cousin knowing Eris, because a lot of things that she was saying, not about Jasmine, but what she was saying about Eris, about not being ready for marriage and was he sure, and just the little innuendos turned out to be true. So when Kevin showed unseen footage of Jasmine and Eris talking about the cousin, apparently it was like maybe the day after Jasmine met the cousin for the first time, like after they got married, everything. When Jasmine came home, her and Eris were talking about how it went. And apparently Eris said, ooh, you look like you've been working a 16-hour shift and, you know, what's going on? And when Jasmine expressed her concerns about what the cousin was saying and how she didn't feel comfortable, Eris took his cousin's side, was like, well, you know, I'm naturally going to side with her because maybe she's right. And you know what? That didn't sit right. That didn't sit right at all to Kevin or Jasmine. And even after the fact, I think it took Eris just a little bit of time to really recognize what it is that he said. But then Eris, after a little pushing about the conversation and you know, realizing what was said about Jasmine from his cousin, like not even knowing her 24 hours was wrong, Eris apologized on behalf of himself and his cousin. All right, so after the round robin of questions, the first couple to sit down with Kevin is Eris and Jasmine. So Kevin says to Eris, it looked like you hit the jackpot getting a wife. Eris said that they had some private conversations that he wasn't going to bring out on camera because it would disrespect Jasmine and her family, and he just didn't want to go there. Now, right there, that says a lot. Not just the fact that we know that he wasn't attracted to Jasmine because he said it, how he friend zoned her real early, but to say that there's things that, you know, he would say that could possibly, in his words, nail him to the cross with his comments from the viewers. Yeah, that really is a telltale, at least for me. So Kevin said, well, you're good at answering questions. I'm still confused about what is going on. Right? Why didn't this work out? Why was you in the friend zone with Jasmine? And Eris said, well, I guess you still have to be confused then. I said, okay, Eris, listen at you. So, you know, sometimes what we see on camera, like when they're in the process, could seem like they're coming across a little bit more sarcastic, whether they're in character, out of character, maybe under stress, anxiety, or whatever. No, I think for the most part, the majority of those watching, including myself, saw Eris for who his personality is and who maybe he is as a person. Yes, I gave him props early in the season for being honest in his questioning with Jasmine when he told her he, wanted to wait to have sex with her until after the process was over. He wanted to get to know her better and just things like that we did see on camera. I give him that because he could have just, had sex with her, not feeling anything, just to satisfy his own urges, and then that would have been like more of an issue. But Eris is holding firm in the things that he's saying. Kevin also asked him a question about, again, he's pushing the why weren't you attracted to Jasmine? Why? And I was thinking to Kevin, like, just move past that because he's not going to answer. We already know he's not attracted for whatever reason. So then they show a clip of when Eris originally was sitting before he gets married with Pastor Cal talking about the body type that he likes. So he said he likes Serena Williams, which we already know, her body type. And he said that when Pastor Cal asked what about a Zendaya, and if you don't know, Zendaya, or Zendaya, however you pronounce her name, grew up on Disney doing Disney Channel productions such as, I don't know, TV shows, things like that. So she's tall and slender, right? He said, no, Zendaya would be too slim. And so Jasmine said, well, I'm in between the two. I mean, I guess Jasmine is on the slender side, but I think Eris was really looking for the Serena Williams, the Meg Thee Stallion, that type of thicker, in his terms, his words, body type, and Jasmine didn't fit that bill. So, but he did say it wasn't about the physical attraction, like the outside looks like her body. It was just other things he just didn't want to discuss. And then they roll into, Kevin asks, so about the friend zone at the honeymoon. Jasmine again said she appreciated the transparency. Then another clip, was when Eris and Jasmine were sitting down at the honeymoon, and they're outside eating, and Eris is talking about being in an open marriage or open relationship in 20 years. And Eris said, you know what, you just don't choose these things, you want to participate. And he wants to be the leader in participation for an open marriage. And you know what, for some people, that's what they do. Some people are in an open relationship, and if that's what they like, that's what they like. But Jasmine was saying, no, that's not what I want. But you know what, Eris said that after filming, or if they have a long day of filming, he tend to say things that's kind of like off the cuff, off the wall. So he didn't really mean it. He doesn't really want to be in a open marriage or relationship. I mean, can we really believe that? Because Eris is Eris, so whatever floats his boat. Now, also, Kevin brings out one of Jasmine's friends named Adrian about how she felt she saw Jasmine and if anything changed about Jasmine while she's been on the show. Now, I was hoping they were going to bring out Eris's cousin. Now, there's still hope for part 2 of the reunion because that's who we really need to hear from. But then again, if she said that she wasn't going to participate at the marriage and the reception when Eris got married, she probably won't participate in this either. But hey, curious minds want to know. Well, anyway, Adrian was saying that she felt bad for Jasmine when she saw what was happening. She said that watching it back, she was concerned for Jasmine's mental health. She said the disrespect that Eris's cousin had for Jasmine was so out of line. She said if someone is rooting for you genuinely, then they should stand on that. But you know what? Eris at first was defending his cousin. He said, well, how do I go against somebody who I've known since I was 4 months old till now? Just like Adrian said, if they really wanted the best for you and was genuine, they would stand on that. But then again, the cousin did say in those clips that she wasn't here for Eris and his selection of coming on the show. But yeah, the friend Adrian also mentioned about Eris's innuendos about sex and his preferences. She said, you know what, he missed out because without filming or things we didn't see, Jasmine could have been that Meg Thee Stallion behind the scenes. He just missed out, and I guess he will never know. So Kevin later asked them what it was. After Adrian left, Kevin asked Jasmine and Eris, are they happy? Are they in relationships now? And what's going on with their lives? Jasmine says, yes, she's still dating the guy that we saw from 2 episodes ago. The friend boy, as she called it. Eris says he's not dating. Eris said that he's into volunteering his time and doing things that really tugs at his heart and things he's passionate in, because he said that's one thing he learned from Jasmine, for her working with children and mentoring, that he took that from her and he wants to keep going with that in his life. And he hopes that he finds a wife and has children one day, and same thing for Jasmine, she gets a husband and kids one day, and them going through this process was for the better purpose. All right, so next couple is Chris and Nicole. Now when they come to sit down, Kevin says he owes them an apology for saying he didn't think their marriage would work because Nicole would drive Chris crazy. I still personally think that she probably does. Because look, Nicole's personality, from what we've seen through the entire process, and even a little bit on this reunion, showed that Nicole likes to be part of the conversation, direct the conversation, and just direct it left, right, until she's done guiding the conversation. So Nicole said, we're still here and I accept your apology, because Kevin did apologize. Kevin said the turning point with him when he realized they were going to make it is when Chris broke down and was crying about the dogs on the honeymoon. And Nicole confronted the producers to say, like, if we have to give up the dogs, then this is not going to work. We need to be in a space where he can have his dogs, I can have mine, to move forward. So he said when Nicole stepping up to the plate, that's what did it for him. And Chris actually co-signed that. He said that's where he knew that he was comfortable and he had somebody to stand by his side. He knew that Nicole was special right after that. And then Chris is asked about the nice guy comment. He says that, does he feel like Kevin asked, does Chris bend more for Nicole to keep her happy? Nicole says, yes, Chris does, but Chris says to a point. And you know what they bring up? The clip of when they were on the retreat, when everyone's in the kitchen making breakfast and Nicole talks Chris into wearing the dinosaur costume and Chris didn't want to. He said this would be a one-time thing. So that was Chris bending for Nicole. I think there's a lot of give and take, mainly on Chris's side. Chris did say that he's the more lenient one, more reserved, versus Nicole is more outspoken, and opinionated. So, they even each other out, and, that's the way it is for them. Kevin also said to Chris, like, I understand there's challenges in all marriages, even though you all have worked out, how do you guide Nicole and her feelings and your relationship? Because remember when Nicole said that to the Pastor Cal that, even though she's happy in a relationship, like, I didn't pick him. I didn't pick Chris for me. You guys did. So they showed clips of that. And Nicole voiced her opinion saying that, she has to work on self-awareness and, just knowing to go with the flow type deal. So, I mean, for them, it seems like it's working out for the meantime, and who knows, it might be for a lifetime. So then we also see more unseen footage. It's different little quirky things that Nicole brings to the house, like lightsabers from like the Star Wars movie, things like that, and just different little things to, brighten up or lighten up the marriage. So that's what they do for fun and just to be silly. And then Kevin asked Nicole, how does her dad feel about Chris? And Nicole said, oh my goodness, my dad loves him so much. So I guess Nicole's dad, from when we first saw him, wasn't on Chris's side or on his feeling him at all or whatever. Because remember when Nicole's dad was like, Chris needs to get him some BDE, some BD energy to be with my daughter, and he definitely doesn't have it. So then Nicole calls her dad, and her dad goes on FaceTime with Kevin, and the dad was like, oh, good to see you. You look better. On FaceTime or in person, whatever he says, is glad to meet you. Nicole's dad is here for this. He said not only is Chris family, he's welcomed him in. Chris has a big family on their side. He's welcome on Chris's side. And the whole Married at First Sight cast are now aunts and uncles to everybody and will be going forward. So they're all a really big, happy family. So, yeah, so there it is. But also, one thing that they said before we go to the next couple, is when Kevin asked, were they going to have children? And there's clips of Nicole saying that, you know, she never wanted to have kids, and Chris said he wanted 3, 2 boys and a girl. And so I guess they're going to wait for another year or so to see. Right now they're buying a house, and yeah, but you know, do you think that once someone wants kids, do they ever like not want kids? You know, so that is something they'll definitely have to work out. And then Kevin said, kudos to experts for doing a perfect job putting you two together. So for me, it's a hit and miss with the experts, because you just never know who you're going to get and what their personality is going to be. And then when Kevin sits down with all the ladies, he's asked them, you know, how do they feel about each other? They all say they found or gained 4 best friends. They said, who is the person you go to for counseling when you have a bad day or just need to talk? And they all say Nicole. I mean, I'm not shocked at that. I mean, is Nicole still writing notes? Even though they all live in different places, is she writing notes and leaving it under their door or leaving it in their mailbox? The ladies rally around Jasmine. She's emotional still about her feelings from the honeymoon, because they brought up the clip about her learning that she'd been friend zoned by Eris, and the lady said, yeah, we're all here for each other. Kevin showed the ladies clips of the men. It was right before after decision day, because McKinley was there too, and talking about how the men seemed to have already found a new partner to be with so soon afterwards, and what did they think about it? The ladies didn't care. You know, they're like, it's just whatever. They weren't surprised. So they showed a clip of Clint, Eris, McKinley, and Chris talking about, well, Chris is out because, you know, he's with Nicole, but the other men talking about, have they been dating? Have they had sex? And of course, that's where Clint and Eris was like, yep, I have. But that's no surprise, because they talked about that even before they got married, right? So they were ready to do whatever they needed to do, because apparently while they were married, nothing really happened like that. So then Kevin asked the ladies, so what kind of man does Gina need? The answer was a man with swag and who can handle her. For Dominique, they say an outdoorsy man and someone who go fishing. And for Kirsten, they say, well, not they. Nicole says, Shaquille. And I'm like, just, can she move past Shaquille? You know, he's not the only fish in the sea, right? Then Nicole goes on to give her 2 cents again and says, when you get a feeling about 2 people, you have to explore it until you know about it. And so again, Counselor Nicole said she's not ready to give up on Shaquille and Kirsten. All right, so let's move to Clint and Gina. So when they come on the stage, Kevin has asked them about Clint's haircut. Gina says that everyone needs a glow up. Clint's like, what's a glow up? Come on, Clint, you know what a glow up is. And swag. So Gina admitted that Clint is glowed up and has swag now. And guess what? Clint now agrees with that too. So Kevin asked, so when did they know or that their marriage wasn't getting past the friend zone? We all know. That slender comment, that's where it was. But you know what? That's not what they said. Gina says the spark just wasn't there from the beginning. They tried, they just didn't get there. But Clint says communication was not there either, but you know, they just couldn't get past the hurdle of just everything to spark the communication, so on and so forth. I don't know why Kevin feels like they're a good match. Like, they look good together. I mean, all the couples, you know, when you see them, look good together, but Gina and Clint's personality, their communication. I mean, if Hank wasn't in the picture, can you imagine where Clint would be? Like, would they have bowed out the marriage to like Dom and McKinley in the beginning? Because Clint is the reason, in my opinion, one of the reasons why he lasted for so long. That was his sanity, to take Hank out on his dates, you know? So, we see clips of them, Clint and Gina, on the honeymoon. They have to buy their clothes from the gift shop because their luggage is lost, and just different little things that went wrong when they were together. It's just, I don't know. They just didn't have any physical connection, no real communication. Kevin is still asking, like, you know, is there a possibility you could still be together one day? Clint says, well, you never know, but ask Gina. And then Gina said the same thing. She was like, I don't know, but you never know what could happen in the future. But why would Kevin ask that when we also learned that Clint has been seeing somebody for the last couple months? So that didn't make sense. And then the topic came up of Gina's business. Kevin brought it to Clint's attention that originally one of the clips is like he thought that Gina came on the show to promote her business. Gina said that's not true. She just had different hurdles that came on at the same time that she was filming. Gina also said that during the build out of the salon, she lost $100,000 and employees quit on her. So she had different kind of stress levels. So there you go with that. So they're not together and they've moved on. So let's move to Shaquille and Kirsten. Kevin asked what's been going on. Kirsten says she's been working and traveling. Shaquille says he's finishing his PhD and going to therapy. Kevin asked Kirsten, does she still care for Shaquille? She said that they're both cordial. So then Kevin goes into asking what happened after decision day. Kirsten said she was so hurt she didn't want to talk to Shaquille about anything. It took her a long time to refocus, regroup, and to get herself back on track. She said that, when Shaquille's grandmother passed, it was even hard for her to, at first, to reach out, but the type of person that she is, to send her condolences to him and the family. Shaquille said the conversation after decision day was very small at first, like Merry Christmas, and that's it. Kirsten's like, no, that weren't it. I just had to take time for me. So then Kevin asked the question of, what really was or wasn't going on. Kirsten goes on to say that, she felt like she was supportive of Shaquille. She would cook, she would clean, she would support him in getting his schoolwork done, and, just helping out around the house to give him a little less stress because he was doing those extra things of the schooling. But Shaq said that there wasn't any extras that Kirsten was putting into the relationship. He feels like she wasn't meeting his needs. And you know what? I don't know. Looking back on the season, I wasn't necessarily team anyone. Well, kind of. I was like leaning towards Shaq. But now, listen to Kirsten, and I could kind of see what she's saying now. When you're cooking, you're cleaning, you're trying to encourage doing schoolwork, PhD, dissertation, things like that. Working, filming, that's hard to do. I just think that, like Shaq said, I think that maybe he lost interest along the way. And maybe he didn't feel like he was good enough for Kirsten. Maybe he felt like he couldn't live up to her expectations. I also think, in my opinion, that not meeting her family in a timely basis also played a part in that. Maybe he felt like he wasn't welcomed like she was welcomed in his family. So I think there was a lot of things that, whether we did see, and a lot of things really we did not see off camera, that played a role in decision making. Kirsten said, and she still holds the fact that she was blindsided on decision day. She said even though they had lots of communication issues and errors, she still was willing to see what it would be like after filming, because you can grow more and see, if your feeling could get further along and we get to know each other better. But Shaquille said that he didn't know he was going to say no until he sat on the couch for decision day. He said that he one day got a call from a prophet. Kevin was like, wait a minute, who? What? So Shaquille explained the prophet was a pastor from school, or was maybe in his class, or I don't know, somebody from school that he knew, that said that, to got him to thinking about, was he sure about his decision and different little things like that. And Shaq, I guess he didn't feel like he could be the husband that Kirsten wanted him to be. So by the time he made it to the couch, the answer was no. He did say that he would have liked to see how it would have been after the 8 weeks of filming, but he just didn't find it in him. He didn't feel like Kirsten was his soulmate or his partner. But you know what? Kirsten said that, how would you know? How would you know? Like, if you wanted to say yes, if you really wanted to, you wouldn't ask somebody for a divorce. So you did pretty much exactly what it is that you wanted to do. Who knows? Maybe when Shaquille gets additional counseling, maybe his eyes will be opened up to whatever it is that maybe some people think he's missing out in a Kirsten. But I still hold fast like this. Even though they may have been a great match on paper, if your heart, mind, and spirit don't match, it's not going to work. I don't care who matches you. You have to know for yourself. And if someone doubts you, believe them, what they said, what they do, their actions the first time. Their actions tell you everything you need to know. And this is for everybody, you know, so that's how I see that. Kevin asked Shaquille, do you think you made the wrong decision of saying no, and do you still want to be back with Kirsten? And that's where we leave on the cliffhanger. So yeah, it was a bunch of little things that came out, mainly with Shaquille, different little things with Eris, not really Chris and Nicole. They were just really what I expected them to be, you know, still moving along in their relationship. And Clint and Gina, same thing. Next week, we're gonna see clips of part 2. And those clips are Dominique is crying because she says she feels like a failure. Not sure who she's talking to or what she's talking about, but that's what she's saying. Gina and Mac are talking about maybe a second date. Dominique and Clint's kiss come up. And then we also see Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal looking at Shaquille and Kirsten, saying if there's still feelings, then what are you gonna do about it, pretty much? And then Dr. Pepper says, I'm glad he regrets it. And I'm thinking, did Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper put their emotions in the match of Shaquille and Kirsten? Did they take it to heart? I'm just asking. So we'll have to see next week how it all goes down. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, leave your comments, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. I will see you on Reunion Part 2 next week. And also, there will be a live on Thursday, so hopefully you can join me then. All right, everyone, thank you again, and live simply, be grateful.